Hey guys, I'm Rain Younger, and this is another episode of Unger the Radar, where we talk all things film. And with me tonight, I have friend to the show, Mr. Matt Roren. Hey Matt, how's it going?
It's going okay. How art thou?
Quite good, quite good. Thank you so much for taking the time, as always.
Always a pleasure.
How's the Disney binge movie watching going?
Oh, it's doing great. Just been going through 1989, which is a fabulous year for all things, uh, Disney, Buena Vista, Touchstone, Lucasfilm, and such. Did Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade,
Yes.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Nice.
What else did I just just a lot of movies that are like so like
Iconic.
yeah, it's like such an important part of like I guess my adolescence. It was like that. I guess it's like the year before I stopped like really liking a lot of like kids movies. But yeah, it's the year I turned 12.
Gotcha.
But like some of these movies are just so incredible.
Yeah.
Recently got to rewatch Roger Rabbit again. Um, you know, yeah, it's just some of these films are just so incredible.
Speaking of Roger Rabbit, that's definitely I've been mentioning it that we have to do a commentary for that for sure.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
It's such an incredible movie.
and I think 1989 that was Little Mermaid. So
I'll be getting to that soon.
nice.
Like
I
I just
had
did Oliver and Company.
some of my earliest memories are like McDonald's having the Ursula suction cup Happy
Yep,
Meal.
I remember having that in my bathtub.
Yeah, I think we all did pretty much.
Yep. Prince Eric in a boat,
Yeah,
a flounder squirt toy.
right. And what was
Ariel
Sebastian?
was just Ariel.
I think Sebastian had like wheels or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
One of them had wheels. Anyway. Cool, man. Well, I'm really happy that you're respecting Walt Disney's vision. You know,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Like,
It's been a lot of fun, and I've seen a bunch of things that I hadn't seen before. Like I just watched Cheetah,
yeah,
which I've never seen before. Uh, I had never even heard of it, and of course that's one of the few that's actually on Disney Plus.
huh?
I watched. I'm amazed I had never heard of this movie.
Hmm.
Directed by Chris Columbus.
Okay.
Came out in between two of his most famous films, Adventures in Babysitting and Home Alone. The movie's Heartbreak Hotel.
I've heard of it. Who's in that?
It is David Keith, not Keith David. David Keith as Elvis Presley.
Wait, is that they live?
No, that's Keith David.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got it.
The white guy is David Keith.
White guy's
The
Keith.
black guy is Keith David.
Okay.
I always get their
Yeah.
names mixed up too.
Yeah.
Although I can think of way more movies that Keith David is in
Mhm.
than David Keith.
Okay.
And the movie, it apparently like bombed,
Did it?
and which is amazing because in between two such like successful films,
Mhm.
and it is. I mean, I understand why it bombed.
Mhm.
I kind of loved it, but it is a weird ass movie.
Did it have the signature Columbus filmmaking styles? Did it feel like it?
I feel like, honestly, I feel like he was trying to do a lot more in other people's styles. Like I felt a lot of like early Zemeckis in it. Like
Nice.
I mean, there's a Battle of the Band scene which is almost exactly the same as Back to the Future, minus Huey Lewis. So
Okay.
and also, the kid's not Michael J. Fox. I don't know. I don't even remember who the rest of the cast in this movie was. They're all like pretty unknown.
Wow.
I mean, I guess part of the reason this movie probably bombed is it didn't have a lot of star power. Like a lot of the cast wasn't like memorable enough. Like they're
Hmm.
not like the kind of the kind of actors that like really like stuck in there. Your Michael J. Foxes, your Elizabeth Shue, stuff like that. But it uh, it was a weird premise. Basically, it's like this kid who's like in a rock band in high school, and like
Hmm.
the high school doesn't like rock music,
Yeah.
and then his mom used to be in love with Elvis Presley, like she was so obsessed with him, and like their dad was kind of like Elvis, but he left. I don't know,
That's
like he was
odd.
like Elvis, but like a jerk.
What's
And
the
then
what's the title, by the way?
Heartbreak Hotel, of course.
Okay.
Um, so the premise basically boils down to Elvis is performing. Takes place in 1972.
Hmm.
So around the time of like early Fat Elvis. So early Fat Elvis is on tour in this tiny town.
Hmm.
Uh, they dress up a waitress at a diner who looks kind of like Elvis's mom
Okay.
to pretend to be Elvis's mom.
Okay.
In order to lure Elvis out of his hotel, and they kidnap him.
Okay.
And basically, are like, "You're going on a date with my mom." And what's supposed to be like, he's like, "All right, but I'm only here for one night," which is already crazy. That
Uh-huh.
like Elvis is like, "All right, fine, I've been kidnapped, but I'll do it." And then it turns into like weeks. I think that the time isn't really explained, but it feels like Elvis lives with them for like weeks.
And
And like,
it's the real Elvis.
yes,
Okay, cool.
and he's like, I guess he like kind of falls for the mom,
Mhm.
and he's like falls for the kid, and like the kid helps Elvis become like get back to his rock and roll roots. It's a weird movie. I definitely suggest checking it out. It's not streaming anywhere, of course.
Mm.
And I was lucky enough to buy the DVD on eBay for like $3.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
but it was a
Ridiculous.
weird movie, but enjoyable.
Family friendly.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
That's cool. It reminds me, wasn't there a movie where they kidnapped Elvis in a different movie, and it was like a lighthearted romp?
I,
What am I thinking? I'm thinking of maybe not Elvis, but they
yeah, I mean, there's definitely been
yeah,
multiple movies. I mean, that's like the premise of uh
Celtic Pride.
Celtic. I'm like, what's the name of that movie? And I was like, yeah, no, Celtic Pride.
Yeah.
That's definitely the same premise.
Yeah.
Which I also just watched for the first time when I did my Aykroyd binge.
Lovely.
So I've been watching a lot of kidnapping celebrity movies.
Why not?
Um,
Why the
maybe
hell not?
give me some ideas. Watch out, celebrities! I'm a coming for you.
All right, the show's over. No, I'm kidding. But that's cool. Heartbreak Hotel.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I'd like to see an early Columbus film. I love Adventures in Babysitting.
yeah. I just rewatched it, and I absolutely adore that movie.
Right.
And obviously, Home Alone is a classic.
Sure.
Um,
Mrs. Doubtfire is great.
oh yeah, I mean, he has an almost impeccable track record.
Yeah. Except
But
for Pixels. That's it.
yeah,
All right. Well, let's dive into we've got two reviews as usual. And this first one, I watched it twice. It's called Sound of Metal.
yeah,
And I think it might be up there for my favorite movies of the year this so far.
absolutely.
It's basically it's a pretty simple story. It's about a heavy metal drummer who he's played by Riz Ahmed, who basically starts to begin lose his hearing. So he's basically his hearing is degenerating, and he's basically becoming deaf. and basically is in this heavy metal band with his girlfriend. They live in a trailer, and basically in an attempt to basically learn more about being deaf, how to be deaf, how to learn to be deaf, he basically checks himself into this community, this deaf community in like the country. And it's a beautiful film. It's very well acted. It's an interesting subject matter. We don't really see a lot of deaf movies, so it was actually really refreshing to see this.
Definitely.
Yeah, this type of this subject brought to screen. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it's top 10 of the year for me. And
Yeah, I mean, it's sadly there's not much contest in new films that we've seen
right.
this year, but yeah, this movie was just an incredible movie, and it's such a like the subject matter. It's like one of those things like being someone I've been playing music live for almost 30 years,
Mhm.
and it's like one of my absolute like fears. I have terrible hearing already.
Hmm.
My hearing is like pretty bad, and it's honestly like and yeah, and also it's like my daughter, one of my daughters was born with like moderate hearing loss. She wears hearing aids. Most of the time she doesn't, but she's supposed to. But she for when she was since she was God maybe like one or a little younger. She was really young when we brought her, but she was like went to school for the deaf for a number of years before integrating into regular school. But yeah, I mean it's like her hearing's not terrible, but um, it's just very important, to see films like this about hearing loss and the deaf community, and also like that struggle where his immediate response is like oh well I need to fix this when he
Gotta
learns
fix
like
this first.
the
Yeah, that
community
was
it's like well it's not about fixing it, it's about accepting it and living with it, because there is no fix. Like there are things you can do as
yeah.
seen in the film, but
You can adjust, you can adapt to the situation,
yeah,
and kind of change your mental outlook.
and I mean it's also kind of hard to talk about this movie and not give things away, because it's like there's things like it's like it's a very very just deep,
Yeah,
like
it's
like
real.
emotional, real, like yeah, it's
I was with him on this in this movie. Like I was right there with him.
yeah,
You know?
I mean, his like arc is incredible. Just like that journey, uh, the things he realizes, it's just very. I mean, it's just very real.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a side of life we don't really get to see a lot of.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think
and
another movie about deafness, or at least an actor, Marley Maitland.
yeah,
She's been in a number of those films.
yeah. I
So,
mean, it's one of the few prominent deaf actresses or actors. There's not many.
yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, Now, Matt, are you a drummer?
No, I'm a singer.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but it's also like it's a weird thing too, because it's like everyone's always like, oh well, you need to wear earplugs and stuff. Like I can't sing with earplugs in. It's like so distracting and weird,
Yeah.
because it's like it's like I can't hear myself. It's like all I hear is like the voice, your voice coming out of the inside of your head,
Oh
which is
God,
like
yeah, that sucks.
very weird and distracting.
Right.
So like I've tried multiple times to like play with earplugs, and it just does not work for me. So it's definitely like a fear I have.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that and the scenes in which they depict the deafness, like where
Oh yeah,
it's all you hear is like this like underwater sound, like it's just a muffled.
and
Really,
I've had moments where I hear stuff like that.
wow.
I've had like it's very interesting to hear
Hmm.
that the way the audio in the film is incredible, like
Yeah.
the way they portray what you hear
Hmm.
and what you don't, and
Oh.
just like it's because it's like, oh wow, that sounds awful, and it's like, but it's yeah,
It's disturbing, but
yeah,
it's very, very well handled, very well in this movie.
yeah, yeah.
And I think some of my favorite scenes are in that on the farm at
Oh yeah, definitely, and it's also like a rehab,
yeah,
which is pretty
which
cool.
I would actually not even be surprised if actor Paul Raci got a nomination for best supporting actor. He runs the
Yeah,
farm.
he was excellent.
Oh my God, he
Every
was
one of that movie was
so realistic. Like I think he's actually deaf, if I'm not mistaken. But if he's not, then you'll believe he is
yeah
because phenomenal. And this and the lead again, Riz Ahmed, he actually learned a little bit of basic sign language for this,
yeah.
which makes sense. And heavy
And
metal.
it helps if he learned along the way too, because
Mhm.
watching him get better at it and stuff
Yeah.
is interesting, and like go the fact that he's going into this situation where he knows nothing about sign language or being deaf, and it's
Yeah.
just like watching that initial struggle. It's just it's intense, and it's just an incredible experience.
Yeah. And I'm sure deaf schools across the country and the world will probably adopt this film in their curriculum,
Yeah,
just to show it, and because it's a really
yeah,
it's an easy to digest story,
yeah.
and it's an extremely important topic. And I also wanted to mention the girl who plays the girlfriend, Olivia Cook, also very, very strong performance from her.
Yeah.
um, she was in a movie called Thoroughbreds a few years back. I don't know if you
Oh
saw.
yeah, yeah.
She's
That was
phenomenal. She's a great actress.
the final film of Anton.
Yep.
Yeah,
One of the final films,
one of them. Yeah,
sadly. But yeah, again, Riz Ahmed is amazing, and Paul Raci as the head of the farm. Just again, great performances. Would you put this on your any top 10 lists? Any top 5?
absolutely. I mean, I'd say it's definitely within my top 5 of the year.
Nice. It just it flows so realistically, and
Yeah,
again, the subject matter is really important, and yeah,
yeah.
everybody should go see this.
Everything about it
Hmm.
was great. I mean,
Yeah. And
from just from editing, pace, production, acting. It was just a perfect film. I mean, it
I
really
think
was.
I think the also is worth noting is the sound design.
Oh, yeah.
So whoever, yeah,
I mean, yeah, they should definitely be nominated for sound design.
yeah,
It'd be
cool.
nice for something that actually has sound design to be nominated for sound design. Because normally it's just like, what are movies that came out? I don't know. Superman.
Yeah,
Superman had sound design in it. Like, this is actually like someone did work.
right.
Whereas like a lot of times it's like that whole like sound design and like there's like sound mixing and like
Yeah, there's editing and there's mixing. They're
and
separate.
it's like
Yeah, I don't really know what the difference is either. I think, yeah, one is more geared towards like sound effects, like Star Wars,
yeah
and the other is more like ambient sound and dialogue. I'm totally pulling this out of my ass, but it might be true.
Yeah. But whichever one this one belongs in, possibly both,
Yeah.
it should be nominated.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, which is so weird. I mean, this year, it's like, isn't the Oscars supposed? What I don't even know, what month is it? Oh, it's only December. Okay, so the Oscars usually February, sometimes March.
Yeah. This February is gonna be weird, man.
It's gonna be weird because I mean, it's also like, isn't like almost all of the films nominated, I think, this year are Netflix.
Oh, is it?
That's what I heard. That. I heard that. What was it? Most of the film, yeah, it was like all but one.
For not what do you which
for like Best Picture or whatever.
Are you talking about the Oscars? The Oscars?
Yeah.
I don't think the Oscars were announced yet. No.
Well, they were like, I saw somewhere they were discussing like whatever,
Okay.
And that like the Twins or whatever are all like films that like were just streaming, mostly crazy. Netflix.
It's crazy.
It's like bizarre.
It's the year of streaming. Yep.
You know, it's like, oh, okay, like.
Well, anyway, but guys, Sound of Metal, so good.
Yeah.
Amazing, actually. I was really surprised at how much I liked. I knew I was gonna like it going in.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting story and a very compelling story to me.
Yeah.
But I liked it a lot more than I thought I would, and I think everybody involved. It's just a fantastic film. It's really great. And it is actually now out in select theaters if you could find it, or if you're willing to go to a theater.
I have not seen it available anywhere here on the island, so.
Okay.
But it's available on Amazon Prime.
Yes, it is, and that's probably the best way to see it. So, all right, guys, we're gonna take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with more film reviews right after this.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
So, Matt, we got through arguably one of our favorite movies of the year, and we could talk about that movie forever. We'll see. Maybe there'll be a spoiler episode. We'll see. Probably not. We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll discuss it in a future award.
Yeah.
For sure.
When we get to the weird Oscars of the year.
The weird Oscars. I like
weird
that.
Oscars.
Nice. All right. And now this movie, there's so much to talk about. It is called Mank, and it is on Netflix now, and it follows screenwriter Herman J. Mankiewicz, played by Gary Oldman. And Mankiewicz was actually, he won the Academy Award for writing the screenplay to Citizen Kane, along with Orson Welles. And this is basically his journey, basically trying to bring this film from pen to paper to screen. And yeah, it is a true life story, a larger than life true life story of Mankiewicz. You've got Gary Oldman, who you know, he's always great. He's a chameleon. So he's done Beethoven, Dracula, many villains.
Sid Vicious.
What was it?
Sid Vicious.
Yep, thank you. That's one of his best movies.
Yep.
You know, he's been working for a long time now, since I think about maybe the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sid and Nancy was one of his earlier ones. That was like what 82, 80,
Mid 80s.
yeah, mid 80s. Yeah, I mean, he's always great. I mean,
Yes.
you know, and he's done literally. I mean, he's played so many real people, and like, and then so many ridiculous people. You know, like in like Fifth Element, and all. You know, I mean, dude was you know, also Commissioner Gordon.
Oh yeah, of course. I think my favorite role of his might be a tie between The Professional and True Romance.
Oh, True Romance.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he really is such a chameleon. I mean,
Mhm.
just like the fact that is him in that movie. I mean, damn. Yeah, that's definitely up there. I mean, Sid and Nancy is one of my favorites. Yeah, it's hard to really pick a favorite of his performance of his.
He's been around. He's been working since 1979, and it does not look like he's stopping anytime soon.
Oh,
Yeah, and he won the Academy Award a few years back for playing Winston Churchill,
Darkest Hour.
Darkest Hour, which is another phenomenal film.
Yep.
Great prosthetics in that. So yeah, and with Mank, you know, he plays this guy. He doesn't seem real. Like the way he talks, you know, his behavior.
It's what I love about movies from this time period in Hollywood is because it's like it's a time when Hollywood is actually interesting. Like Hollywood now, like who gives a crap? Like it is not an interesting place. There's no stories to tell within Hollywood. I mean, they can't even find new stories to tell, you know, outside of Hollywood. But you know, just the things going on, like the you know the blacklisting, you know, and just the struggles. Because I mean, it's actually surprising they don't do a lot of like the legal battle for the screenplay in this.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen RKO 281.
That's with Liev Schreiber, right?
Yeah, and John Malkovich played Mank.
Yeah, I have to. That's on my list.
And that the whole movie is about just the trial, and it's interesting. I mean, I liked this one more. It had a lot more of you know his life besides, but also like incredibly fascinating character. You know, he also like co-wrote a bunch of the Marx Brothers films, so you know the dude's funny.
And he worked on Wizard of Oz and
His
Monkey Business or Monkey. What was the Monkey Trouble?
Monk.
Not the fun one with Thora Birch.
Yeah, but yeah, he has quite a career.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, and also another film that came out recently, focusing on early Hollywood, Trumbo.
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston, with the whole communist blacklist thing. That was Brian.
Similar themes there.
Similar theme. Also incredible performances in that one as well. But yeah, it's just like that era of Hollywood is just so fascinating because it was like everything was still new and exciting, and you know there was still passion involved. Now it's just like cubicles and garbage.
1930s, 40s Hollywood. I think that's where I belong.
Yeah,
alternate reality.
Three Amigos, you know. There's so many great movies that you know are in that zone where you know it's
I know
so fascinating.
And I think we should owe some of that to director David Fincher, who perfectly captured the mood and the
Oh,
tone of the time. So,
Yeah.
and
Well, Fincher. I mean, Fincher. He knows what he's doing.
yeah, and a lot of people, a lot of casual moviegoers are going to be like, oh, black and white, forget
Yeah.
that.
And
But
it's also a very different film for Fincher. Uh,
mhm.
which, I mean, he's never. I mean, God. I mean, has he ever done a movie that's not just like a suspenseful, like,
Yeah.
like his first like biopic? Like
Yeah.
essentially a biopic. And usually
I think you could call Social Networks a biopic, sort of.
that's true. But it's still kind of a thriller.
You're right.
But this movie's not a thriller, but it's definitely enjoyable.
Though it does have thriller elements. There are a few.
There's
There, but yeah,
little bits and pieces, but
it's so weird to think that this is the same guy who did Alien 3. It's odd to me.
Yeah.
But this film is great. It's got also a phenomenal supporting cast. Amanda Seyfried, Lily Collins.
Yeah.
You've got Tom Burke, who plays Orson Welles perfectly. I'm
like, oh, they got young Orson Welles. He's incredible.
Yeah, he's great.
The voice, the mannerisms, it's perfect.
And also Arliss Howard, who plays I forget the first name, but Mayer, the guy Metro Goldwyn Mayer, who basically he plays the same kind of swarmy character he did in The Lost World, Jurassic Park. So yeah, kind of like this corporate jerk who he's just really very not likable. Also, you've got Charles Dance, who I think was fantastic as William Randolph Hearst.
Definitely. I love the whole elements of the election in it. I think coming out around this time is perfect to kind of see like the same shit has been going on for so long, just like politics and just like trash talking and just like the nonsense of it all. It's like, oh, some things never change.
So yeah, basically a commentary on modern day politics. But it's a great film, and I mean, it was pretty long. Going into it, I'm like, okay, this is going to be one of those, kind of like dragging epics, but it's actually a pretty good length. It works.
It definitely didn't like, and I also watched it, I guess, kind of late yesterday. I was like, oh, I'll probably fall asleep. It's long, and it was over before I noticed. I was like, oh,
right,
that's it. Which is always a good sign when you're watching a movie and you can't believe it ended.
And
unlike it's the opposite feeling I had when I saw Batman versus Superman in the movie theater. And I'm like, okay, so this movie's over. It's almost over. And then I looked at my phone and was like, holy shit, I'm only an hour into this movie. And then I'm like, oh, they just introduced more villains? Just end already. And it felt like I was in the movie theater for like 5 hours. So this is the opposite of that.
And how would you said you like this one more than RKO?
Yeah, I mean, they're very different films. But I mean, it's been like maybe 15 years since I've seen that movie, and this definitely made me want to rewatch it.
Yeah,
especially after our Malkovich discussions after John Malkovich.
Of course.
And I was like, oh, another movie he was in. I was like, there we go, because we were discussing like it's like he's in so many things that we've seen. Just can't remember them. It's like
if you catch it on Netflix or if you're like scrolling through channels on cable and you see him, you got to stop everything. You got to finish that movie that he's in right there.
Yeah, he's not just the guy who was the jewel thief.
Yeah, definitely not. So Yeah, Mank. I would say go see it. Like, if you're curious, because I'll be honest with you, I did not know much about the production history of Orson Welles, or at least the writing process of the screenplay. But this movie really, it shed a light on it for me, and it made me. I didn't even know anything about Mankiewicz, and I'm glad I saw this movie because it was not only entertaining but a real education in old school Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I say see it, guys. You know, you've got Gary Oldman, you've got David Fincher, you've got a very cool period in American history. So I say see it.
Yeah. I
Matt,
mean, I would say, you know, if you're interested in history of Hollywood, if you're if you're into film, you'll probably want to watch this movie. And it's it's definitely worth your time. It doesn't feel long, and it's very well acted and well executed.
yeah, and the writing is great too.
Yeah.
Um, so this is actually, I think, Jack Fincher. That's David Fincher's late father, who I believe wrote this obviously before he passed. And so this it was actually kind of like, you know, in memoriam to his father. So yeah, so that's a nice story. But yeah, guys, Mank, it's on Netflix now, and also I think in select theaters, so check that out. But I think Netflix might be a safer bet.
Yeah. Once again, I haven't seen it playing in any theaters near me.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the movies we'd be showing right now had we been open.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right. And you know what? I just wanted to switch gears a bit, because last week they had the Disney investors meeting,
Oh Jesus, yes.
where I actually sat through all 4 hours of that video on YouTube. But I'm glad I did because I mean, there was a lot of unnecessary stuff, but I was just there basically for Star Wars and Marvel. But we got some great announcements here. I just want to share with you guys. Okay, what do we got? Basically, we got a bunch of new Star Wars series which look great. Kind of in the vein of The Mandalorian. Matt, I know you're a fan. We also have The Mighty Ducks Game Changers, it's a new series, as well as Turner and Hooch series.
I just watched the film 5 hours ago.
Nice. That's one of Hank's better comedies of that era, even though it's the same year as The Burbs. So
Yeah, and Dragnet, in which he plays the opposite kind of cop.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because he's more of the Dan Aykroyd character in this movie. That early starts that way, and it's very weird how he goes so quickly from being this like uptight like cop to like being like whatever because of the dog.
Hooch. All right. Put that down. All right. Okay, here's the fun stuff. Lucasfilm announced that they've got series rather projects for Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Which they've been discussing for years.
have they? Well, it looks like we're getting a lot closer to it.
Yep.
Rangers of the New Republic, Ashoka, and these are kind of like set in the Mandalorian universe, it seems.
Yeah, spin-offs of the Mandalorian.
And also Andor, Star Wars: The Bad Batch, Star Wars Visions. This one I'm excited for. Lando. We also got the Acolyte and A Droid Story, and that's just Star Wars. We haven't even gotten to the other Lucasfilm properties. One of which is they're going to be revisiting Willow.
Yep, as a TV series.
I love it.
Which I also just watched.
Sweet. More Star Wars here. We got Rogue Squadron, directed by Patty Jenkins, who you might know from Wonder Woman. Also, we've got the next installment of Indiana Jones. I think this is the fifth and final for Mr. Harrison Ford. So that'll be interesting. And a new film, a new property, Children of Blood and Bone, which is actually going to be written and directed by Taika Waititi. So that should be fun. Okay, Lucasfilm. Oh, we've got they are cranking out a lot this year and in the next few years. It's really we've got a Cruella de Vil prequel starring Emma Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Hocus Pocus 2, Three Men and a Baby with Zac Efron. Oh, and a Sister Act 3 with Whoopi Goldberg reprising her role. We've got a lot of stuff. Pinocchio, which is going to be directed by Mr. Robert Zemeckis.
It's Tom Hanks is Geppetto in that?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
That's cool. Chippendale Rescue Rangers, live action animated hybrid film. Peter and Wendy. We've got a sequel to Enchanted called Disenchanted with Amy Adams returning as Giselle.
About time.
Yeah. That's such a good movie.
Long ass time.
Well, 2007. It's great.
Yeah.
Got a lot of cool stuff.
Also, I watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids today. And they're apparently going through with a sequel to that. That Joe Johnston is coming back to direct.
Nice.
And, Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement to play Wayne Zelensky.
Yay!
So that's super exciting.
That just made my day. Thank you, sir. Awesome. Also, guys, something kind of cool. They're going to be coming out with an animated prequel film to Toy Story. It's like it's kind of meta. It's about Buzz Lightyear, but not the toy. It's about Buzz Lightyear, the character. So we've got Chris Evans as the voice as Buzz Lightyear in Lightyear. So that should be fun, though. I think they should have gotten Tim Allen. I mean, he could have made his voice sound younger, but that's just my own personal feelings about that. But yeah, we've got a bunch of animated films. We've got something called Miss Marvel, who is a relatively new Marvel character. So she's going to be there along with Secret Invasion, Lionheart. Yeah, Matt, you're probably more of a comic book guy than I am. So we've got Secret Invasion. We've got Iron Heart, which I think continues the
Iron Man
storyline.
Yeah, it's basically the comic wise. I don't know what they're doing with the film. Comic wise is basically a younger girl who takes on the mantle.
Okay.
I'm curious to see if they do it with Stark's daughter in the series.
All right.
But yeah, Secret Invasion's gonna bring back it's Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, and the Skrull from Captain Marvel. So
okay, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all these. Armor Wars. Also, I think I'm most excited for is Loki, which
the trailer. Did you watch the trailer for that?
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that.
So it's going to be great to see what's his name? Is it Tom Hiddleston?
Hiddleston, yeah.
It's great to see him back. He loves that role, and
he really does.
He's having a great time with it. So that should be fun. A WandaVision's coming soon to Disney. Yeah. I should have mentioned that almost all of this stuff will be on Disney Plus.
Yep.
So yeah, that streaming service is killing it right now.
Yeah. They got the money, so they might provide the content.
Apparently, it's like a never-ending well here.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, when it comes to like comic book stuff, I mean, there's so much they can do with Marvel. There's so many characters, and it's great to see that the diversity of the stuff they're doing too. It's like they're not just tackling like classics; they're tackling like modern classics. Like Miss Marvel, it's one of the best of the last decade. Within the comics, And it's great to see them work on these as well as bringing in a Fantastic Four movie,
Yeah,
done by Marvel Studios.
I know.
I cannot wait
for that.
for a fifth chance to get a good Fantastic Four movie. Like, please.
Yeah, they're due. They definitely need to get their act together with that. But also I Am Groot, She-Hulk, and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So crazy. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Yeah.
Black Widow coming out soon. So much. Thor, Love and Thunder.
Shang-Chi coming out soon.
They're doing
Eternals.
They're doing a Blade, a new like a Blade reboot with Mahershala Ali. So that should be good.
The story behind that's great too. Is that he called them. He called them and was like, "Hey, I want to be Blade," and like Feige was just like, when he calls you and he demands something, you listen. So like it's like it was done. Like we're doing it. Like we knew we were doing it.
Perfect.
So great.
He's gonna kill it. I could see it.
It's the same. Hey, it's the same approach Samuel L. Jackson did with Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
He heard that when they were shooting Iron Man, and the Nick Fury of the Ultimate Universe, Ultimate Comics, was based on him. And he's a huge comic book fan.
Okay.
And when he found out they were shooting Iron Man, he called Favreau and was like, "Hey, I'm in this movie. I'm Nick Fury." And they were just like, "Okay." So they like snuck him onto set for a day, like to secretly shoot. Yeah. and thus the Nick Fury we know from the cinematic universe was born. All because Samuel L. Jackson demanded it. Yeah.
Because Samuel L. Jackson. That's it.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Good story. Good story. We've also got Captain Marvel 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, as well as a new Doctor Strange movie in the multiverse.
Sam Raimi.
What?
Directed by Sam Raimi.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's gonna be so strange.
And it's supposed to be slightly a horror film as well. The Villain's Nightmare. It's gonna be incredible.
I just hope they don't overdo it on CGI because I love Sam Raimi's superhero films. The first Spider-Man film was great.
Yeah.
Because it didn't really rely too much on the CGI back then. There was actually a lot of the fight sequences had that kind of like that signature Raimi, like Evil Dead kind of violence about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I really hope that he doesn't screw up.
I'm sure he'll do great because the only reason that Spider-Man 3 sucks, which it doesn't, it's a great movie. But the reason that everyone hates it is because of studio involvement.
Okay.
And I mean, Marvel obviously is going to be very involved in this film.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think Raimi would have taken this if they weren't ready to agree with him.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's like they've already fired Edgar Wright once over Ant-Man because of creative differences, because he kind of wanted to take it out of the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they can work very well with Raimi. The thing is he basically came into something they already had basic screenplay, like written ideas are already out there. Whereas with the Spider-Man franchise, as he was going, he had ideas. And by the time they got Spider-Man 3, he just wanted to do a movie that was Spider-Man and the Lizard.
Yeah.
And they were like, "No, you have to have Venom in it." And he was like, "I hate Venom. I don't want Venom in this movie. I hate the character. I don't want to use him." They forced him to use Venom, which is the downfall of that movie.
Yeah. Actually, the Sandman sequences, like those were the downfall in my opinion.
Well, yeah. I mean, not the acting, but
love Church. Thomas Hayden Church is a great actor, and
he's incredible. I mean, he's great in the movie.
Yeah.
But it's I mean, it's one of those things where he just wanted the simple Lizard Spider-Man movie with possibility of the Green Goblin 2 in there, but like mainly he wanted to focus on Lizard because he had been leading up to the lizard in the previous two films, you know, and they were like, no, we want more villains. And then after they fired him, what did they do?
they made
a movie that was just Spider-Man and the Lizard. So they took his idea and made a bullshit film out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really hoping that the studio will be like, you know, look, we've done these movies for like 20 years now.
Yeah.
There's too much CGI, man. Let's just let the creative types do their thing. You know, you got Sam Raimi, who he's done great practical effects, great creature effects.
Yeah.
Just let him have fun with the Doctor Strange, and hopefully that will create a good product.
I feel like one of the strongest things about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that the directors that they hire are all visionaries. They're all like fantastic creative directors, and they all basically work very well together with them to get the best out of them. And, you know, which, you know, it's unlike, say, the DC films where they hire who the fuck cares who made some shitty movie to make more shitty movies.
But you know what? I think in the last 10, 15 years, though, we've been blessed with filmmakers who are also fanboys.
Yeah.
And when they bring that type of energy, that fanboy energy to...
Yeah, when they're true fanboys, when they're not... Because, like, you know, like, I'm not going to... I don't think that Zack Snyder is a fanboy. Like, it's like Kevin Smith is a fanboy.
Oh,
Zack Snyder's, like, the guy who probably, like, beat up guys who read comic books and then, like, saw a comic book movie and was like, yo, that babe is bitching tits. I like comic books too. Like, he's like a Rob Liefeld guy. Like, oh yeah, big muscles and big guns. I like that. Like,
I'm picturing like Ice-T or like Eminem right now. I don't know.
Yeah, right. But like, it's yeah. I mean, there's definitely like, you can tell the movies that are done by people that have passion.
Yeah.
Like, look at the Fantastic Four. The last Fantastic Four movie, was it Josh Trank did?
Yeah, I don't forget.
What's her face, who played Invisible Girl in that movie? I always get those sisters confused, if they're even sisters or they're just similar names. I don't know. But her whole thing was like, she was like, I read an interview with her where she was like, I was really excited, and I, told Josh Trank, I'm going to read a bunch of the old storylines and whatever. And he said, don't bother. This movie's going to have nothing to do with any of the classic Fantastic Four stories. That's like, you have 70 years worth of incredible stories.
Right.
You're dumb enough to throw all of those away and create your own new story? You're a goddamn fool.
It's sad.
That's the thing with all these films is they're all based on previously written work.
Right.
None of these movies are brand new ideas.
Right.
Like, but in a good way. It's not like Hollywood where it's like, we're watching the same goddamn Batman movie over and over again. Like, enough of the goddamn origin. I don't want to see his parents die again. I don't care.
It's sad.
And I'm sure the Robert Pattinson one is going to be, ooh, here's his parents dying again. Like, enough. Like, we knew better with Spider-Man, Homecoming, to not show another origin. Like, it's like, give it a rest.
But you know what? Back to Batman there. I do want to see the origin stories they have for the Riddler. And
they're all the same.
I know, maybe not with the Penguin.
It was even in the Joker, dude. The movie that was like supposed to be like not even canon had goddamn Bruce Wayne's parents getting killed in it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we know Batman. We know him all too well. But these studios, they got to wisen up and really they have to bring on board actual fanboys.
But yeah, I mean, and also a lot of the MCU movies are written by comic book writers, the screenplays. Yeah. So that's a very important thing is people who know the character, who know the business, and not just some like executive like, oh, somebody get somebody who writes.
Yeah.
That's that you have to put heart into these films.
Get Mank. Get Mank. Get him back. Bring him back.
Yeah, I mean the comic book movies, they need the heart. And
so we're almost out of time here, Mr. Roren. Do you want to talk about the cafe? Anything going on?
Still doing it from home, still not open yet to the public. So we're just doing it at home on Saturday nights on our Facebook group, the Not So Secret Society called Cafe. And this week we are doing it up Christmas style with the Hulk Hogan classic, Santa with Muscles.
I know. Prior to last Saturday, I had no idea this movie existed. So
I think it did a week in theaters. It is definitely like the most obscure of his career. It's no Mr. Nanny and it's no Suburban Commando.
How did you find out? Was this like a random cable flipping movie when you were?
Actually, this one is a film I only heard about it a couple of years ago when someone mentioned it to me, and I honestly thought it was a joke. I thought it was like one of those like was it like Shazam with Sinbad movies where it's like
Yeah.
like
Or My Spy even for modern
well, yeah, but My Spy exists. The real movie, I saw it. But one of those movies that like that doesn't exist. The Mandela effect, where like people talk about it, so then it's real. But they were like, "Oh, Santa with Muscles, starring Hulk Hogan," and I'm like, "Okay, you just made that up." And they're like, "No, it's real." And I'm like, "There's no way a movie came out." And it's like I feel like I'm pretty well versed on like weird, kitschy Christmas movies. Like, you always hear about them. They always become cult classics.
Right.
Like, and it's like one of those things where I looked it up and was like, holy crap, it is a legit movie. It's stupid fun. It's not good, but it's fun. It's stupid.
Okay. I'm just imagining that sequence in Jingle All the Way where they go to the warehouse where they're making those cheap Turbo Man, and just like this buffed Santa, and how Arnold has a like little fight with him. But
yeah, it's but it's such a weird ass movie. Like just the fact that it just was so under the radar, no one noticed it.
Nice. Well, hopefully this Saturday it will be over the radar. Or
yeah.
But Matt, thank you so much for your time, sir. This was a lot of fun as always.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, and we'll have you on again soon for the next batch of reviews.
Sounds good.
All right, well, be well, and thanks for watching these movies. I think this was a good week. We did.
This was a very good week.
Yeah, right?
It's rare you get two films that are just like that solid. So.
For sure, both on top 10 lists. So
yeah, it's two of the best movies I've seen this year. So
yeah, and next week it'll be total crap. So
yeah, next week
we'll downhill from here.
We'll get two very, very bad movies. Maybe we'll do three terrible movies.
I love it. All right, guys. So I want to thank you for watching at home on your devices. This is Under the Radar. I'm your host, Randy Unger, and we'll see you next week. Take care.